the continuation of the plant organ. Flower. It is an organ of reproduction in a flowering plants. The physical function of a flower is to facilitate reproduction, usually by providing a mechanism for the union of sperm with egg. Flowers may facilitate outcrossing fusion of sperm with egg from different individuals in a population. Parts of flowers. First is the stamen, or the male reproductive part of a flower. Stamen consists of long slender stalk, the filament with the two lobes and at the tip. The anther consists of four sac-like structure or mycospongria that produce pollen or pollination. The number of stamen is usually same as the number of petals. Anther, this is the part of the stamen that produce and contain pollen. It is usually on top of a long stalk that looks like a fine hair. Filament, this is hair-like stalk that the anther sit on top of. The second part of the flower is the pistil, or the female reproductive part of a flower. It is usually made up of stigma, style, and ovary. Each pistil is constructed of one of the many roll leaf-like structure. The parts of the pistil. First is the stigma, one of the female part of flower. It is a sticky bulb that you see in the center of the flower. It is the part of the pistil of a flower which receive the pollens and on which they germinate. Second is the style, another female part of a flower. This is a long stalk that the stigma sit on top of the ovary. The third part is the ovary, the part of a plant usually at the bottom of the flower that has the seeds inside and that turns into a fruit that we eat. The last part is the ovule, the part of the ovary that becomes the seeds. Other important parts of flowers. First is the petals. This layer lies just above in the sepal layer. They are just often bright in the color as the main function of it. It attacks pollinators such as insects, butterflies, and etc. to the flowers. The petals collectively known as the corolla. The petals, the colorful, often bright part of they attract pollinators and are usually the reason why we buy flowers. The second important part of a flower is the sepal. The sepal, the part that looks like a little green leaves that cover the outside of the flower bud to protect the flower before it's opened. The sepals are the small leaf-like part of growing at the base of the petals. They form the outermost whorl of the flowers. Collectively, sepal known as the calyx. The main function of the calyx and its sepal is to protect the flower before its blossom. The third important part of a flower is the faunacle, or the stalk of a flower that it links into the stem. Fourth is the receptacle. It is a part of the flower to which the stalk is attached. It is a small found at the center of the base of the flower. The last part is the corolla and calyx. These are the non-reproductive section of the plant that is known as perianth. This is the picture of the parts of the flowers. On the left side, we've seen the pistil, or the female parts of the flower that contains stigma, style, and ovary. On the right side, we've seen the stamen, or the male parts of the flowers that contains anther and filaments. And after that, we've seen the petals that attacks the pollinators. At the center, we've seen the ovule or embryo sac that contains seeds. After that, the sepal and the receptacle that takes into the faunacle, which is the stalk of a flower. The flower types. First is the imperfect flower. The imperfect flower with only one set of sexual reproductive structure. It may be further described as the staminate or male flowers, or pistillate or the female flowers, depending on which sexual reproductive structure are present. The example of the imperfect flower are cucumber, pumpkins, and melon. The next one is the perfect flower. a flower with male and female reproductive parts. A perfect flower is one on which both male and female reproductive structure are present. Both endocrium whorl of stamen and gynocrium whorl of pistil are located at the same flower. The example of perfect flower are rose, lilies, and dandelion. Important processes. First is the pollination. Pollination is the act of transferring pollen grains from the male anther of a flower to the female stigma. The goal of every living organism, including plants, is to create offspring for the next generation. One of the ways plants can produce or make offspring is by making seeds. Pollination occurs when a pollen is transferred by wind, insect, birds, mammals, bats, rodent, primates, and water from the anther to the stigma. Chemical called enzymes or drill. A channel down through the style to the ovary where the egg is. The second process is the fertilization. Fertilization occurs when the pollen joins with egg. After this, a seed forms inside the fruit. Fertilization in a flowering plant happens through a process called pollination. Fertilization occurs when one of the sperm fuses with the egg inside an ovule. The last process is the germination. Germination is a process when a seed grows into a seedling. Germination is a process by which an organism grows from a seed or a similar structure. The term is applied to the sprouting of a seedling from a seed or a gymnosperm or gymnosperm. The growth of a sporling from a spore such as form of fungi, fern, bacteria, and growth of the pollen tube from the pollen grains of a seed plant.